back to Blue Jays today, guys. Wow. The Blue Jays are being accused of maybe cheating or implying that the Blue Jays could be cheating. A Yankees broadcaster came out and talked about that over the air that we're just finding out, so we have to talk about it because why? Because it involves the Toronto Blue Jays. We're going to talk about that past series as well against the Yankees and the future series upcoming in San Diego. Lots of fun stuff, guys. If you're a Blue Jays fan, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Palaylog. And we do need to be clear about the implying aspect or insinuating because Michael Kay, which is who we're going to be talking about here, Yankees broadcaster, he effectively said everything except the word cheating. But, when you piece it all together and you just use your brain, it's like, okay, well, clearly this guy is saying something here, and it's certainly not crediting the good hitting approach of the Toronto Blue Jays.
It couldn't be the fact that the Jays are actually maybe decent at baseball.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
So there's got to be some other element here that, the Yankees, of course, the all-powerful, 13 and whatever Yankees, they don't lose a series against these lowly Toronto Blue Jays. Can't possibly happen.
Rodon has never had a bad season, never had a bad outing ever. Literally. Now he's had a bad one, and now they must be cheating.
Of course, guys. So let's flash over to exactly what it was that Michael Kay said, folks. This is actually an article from Yanks Go Yard, so I would imagine a Yankee-centered beat writer, a article, website, whatever. It says Michael Kay all but accuses Blue Jays of cheating after Rogers Center renovation. So, as you know, the Yankees were at the Rogers Center. Now the Toronto Blue Jays are on the road. They're going to San Diego. We're going to get to that series later. But last week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they had the Yankees. They had them at home. We got the better of them in the first two games. It was looking like we were going to get the sweep. Obviously, the brooms did not come out. We're going to break that game down and, the whole ninth inning debacle a little bit later in this video. But Michael Kay, do you want to read out exactly what it was that he said? Because we do need to be word perfect here if we're talking about this.
Absolutely. I mean, this guy was trying to be word perfect, not accusing the Blue Jays of cheating, but he said everything like you said, but that they were cheating. So this was during the Wednesday game, the last game, and it was about the third inning. And this was after, mind you, that the Blue Jays beat up on Rodon. He only went 4 innings. Again, we'll break that down later. But 4 innings, we were fouling off pitches. You remember all the great at-bats you saw from Vladdy, from Bo, from Turner. Like it was looking like we were putting in work and we chased them out of the game early. So then after that day, here on Wednesday, he says, you know what's curious to me though, John, the other broadcast mate that he has on the S Network? We just saw the Blue Jays in the Bronx, and what we watched was a completely different team than the one we've seen in Toronto. And then he goes on to say the one in New York did not foul off the amount of pitches that this team does, implying this team in Toronto. It's like it's a different team in this ballpark. And he continues to say, now home field advantage, there is something to that. But why would it manifest itself in the ability to foul off tough pitches, Kay claimed. And then he goes on to say he continued that if a month had gone by, he might understand it. But this is 180 totally flipped around over the course of a week. And that felt illogical to him. So basically, and people have gone and say like, wow, Michael Kay implying the Blue Jays are cheating. And yes, he is implying because he's talking about how is it that in a week, they can't actually get that much better in a week facing the same Yankees team and now fouling off pitches that they're now home. Right. What do you make of these words?
Well,
Nick?
Listen, I think it's, he kind of dug himself into a hole there by, talking about the home field advantage in the ballpark and stuff. Like, had he not brought that up, then I don't even think there would be a problem here, right? It's just like, you're as a broadcaster being like, this is crazy. I don't know how they did a 180 here, but like they're doing good. They're making, they're having good plate discipline. They are fouling off the tough pitches. But because he was crediting the ballpark so much, that does lead people to think, well, what are you really saying here? We know that there was renovations. We know that stuff happened in the off season. And to go in and to kind of break it down the way that he did, yeah, I think that you can admit and you can agree that there is a little bit of an implication there that, well, maybe the Toronto Blue Jays have some added information that the New York Yankees don't have. Now, I know that you have a couple statistics there from one of the games to kind of, push back against this, because I just want to come out and say, like, before we even get to the statistics, that is a wild, accusation to come out and make. Again, I know that he didn't fully accuse them, but to even, like, give it any light or give it any meaning after losing 2 games when you're on the road, like, I just think that that's ridiculous. I mean, if this was something that, kept happening? Like, maybe. But even then, it's like, we could just be playing good baseball right now. Maybe the Toronto Blue Jays hitters are starting to wake up and starting to be the guys that everybody thought that they were supposed to be. Because let's face it, this lineup is supposed to be better at baseball than what they've been doing. So to say something like that this early, just because you're losing, or at least that's what it feels like, kind of ridiculous.
See, it's one of those things where, and a lot of people are talking about this, they're saying maybe Michael Kay should have not have even spoken these thoughts. Like, you can have these thoughts. I mean, we're all human. We have thoughts like, if your team is losing, you're a fan of a team, you're like, oh, what are they doing? Like, what are they, they're cheating. Like, you can get to those like extreme thoughts, but you don't let those out of your mouth. You keep those in your head.
Look, not if you are the Yankees broadcaster.
That's what I'm saying. That's because his platform is so large.
Exactly.
He needs to be able to realize that what he's doing, he's making we're talking about it. Blue Jays fans talking about it. Yankee articles talking about it. You can't make these accusations based off of what? Because you think and you're assuming these dark, deep thoughts are coming out. You got to be a lot more smarter than that.
And also, too, we're going to get to some of the statistics that Adam has here, but also as well, it's actually a bad look, I think, for the New York Yankees and the New York Yankees fans. Because, again, Toronto Blue Jays and New York Yankees, it's like we feel like we always have a little bit of a beef. But, we have a lot of New York Yankees fans that still watch this program and keep up with the Toronto Blue Jays, who are, really good viewers and friends and supporters of this channel, and we appreciate them. And I think that, coming out and saying something like that, it literally gives a bad rap to the team, to the, to the fan base, to everything. I would hope that the New York Yankees fan, the average New York Yankees fan as a whole, does not feel this way, and I would imagine that is the case. I think Michael Kay is just talking out of his ass, but let's get over to some of these statistics right here. Yeah. I know that you wanted to look at Marcus Stroman specifically.
Exactly, right? We look at the two series, which is the common denominator. We've never faced Rodon yet this year. That's what you're basing this accusation off of. Okay, well, what if we just see Rodon better? That could be a factor, right? He's a lefty. Maybe we just see the lefties better as a Toronto Blue Jays. I don't have those stats. But the only common denominator between that series in the Bronx and this series in Toronto is Marcus Stroman. So just looking over, this was Marcus Stroman's stats by Baseball Savant in the Bronx on home opener in the Bronx on April 5th. You can see here, guys, the really stat that I want to point out is the whiff percentage. Okay, so if he's claiming that we're fouling off pitches and we're making good work, okay, well, in the Bronx, we had a whiff percentage of 15%. And so that means we swung and actually made contact with the ball 85% of the time in his outing. That's pretty good. Now you go over to the Blue Jays, the day where Michael Kay made these accusations with Stroman on the mound, we actually had a whiff percentage of 24. So if we're just taking that, this was after the fact he made these accusations, mind you, but it still matters because you're implying that in the Rogers Center that they have some sort of advantage. We had a whiff percentage of 24%. That's a 76% chance that we're making contact. So we're making contact actually less in the Rogers Center than Yankee Stadium. So I just wanted to bring that up to be like, dude, please stop talking. You got to take the data. You can't make these accusations. You got to be able to make a proper case. You can't just be saying it because your team's losing 2 games.
100%, dude. And to I guess to his credit, the analysis of the Toronto Blue Jays fouling off some good pitches and having longer at bats. That's something that we saw too, right? Especially in all the games, but it did feel like they were having better ABs here. And I don't think that's got anything to do with an advantage or a cheating thing. I think it just has to do with them starting to get into their rhythm. So let's take a look at that series actually and put to bed this ridiculous, implication or accusation or insinuation or whatever the hell you want to call it from Michael Kay. Purely ridiculous. Game 1, Blue Jays win 3-1. If we are cheating, I would have hoped that we would score more than 3. Just saying, just saying.
Look, if we knew what pitches were coming, I'd hope we'd have a Houston Astros type of year.
That's what I'm saying. If we're actually going to cheat, let's fucking drop 10 on these losers.
Yeah, right?
But, all right, we'll bring us through this game.
Yeah, so this game, guys, as we all remember, Chris Bassitt was on the mound. This was his second back-to-back quality start. Yeah, he didn't go into the 8th this time around, but still into the 7th, 6 1/3 inning pitch, only 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. Chris Bassitt looked good, man. I think we're starting to see that Chris Bassitt of old. I really, really love it. And again, if you remember in this game, this was before we called up Jordan Romano. Jimmy came out with a save. Guns blazing, dude. Jimmy Garcia, we talked about it on the show, on the live play-by-play, but my goodness, 90-80s gas up to 100. I've seen 100 from this guy. This guy, if Romano is shaking, he came out 1 outing and looked shaky, gave up an earned run. That's okay. It's his first outing back. But if there is conversations where if Jordan Romano is going to have a shaky month, let's say, and Jimmy's dominating, there could be a flip-flop reality of the changing of the roles in the Blue Jays bullpen. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it's something that you got to keep your finger on because, look, who are you going to trust? I mean, Jimmy right now has looked like the best Blue Jays reliever out there.
Look, I hear what you're saying, dude. But again, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves because, like, Jordan Romano, for me, is still the locked-in guy for a while.
Me too.
He owns that job. And I also want to make reference to the fact that, hey, we could have made the exact same argument about Nate Pearson and why he deserves to stay on this team. And I was thinking more about it today, and I'm just like, you're talking, like, this guy's been impeccable. He's been perfect, and they send him down. Like,
that's a different situation.
I know it's a different situation, but, you know, like, you're talking about a guy in Jimmy Garcia who's had up and downs in his career.
Correct.
Who is also playing very well right now. It's the same level of thinking where, you know, like, if they're not going to trust their eyeballs in this other guy, like, why would they trust their eyeballs here, you know? So I get where you're coming from. I'm not ready to jump on that train just yet. I'm trusting Jordan Romano.
What I'm saying is, let's note it, right? Because, like, if we're going to, we got to use our eyeballs. If John Schneider's not going to use our eyeballs, we got to use our eyeballs, right? And I think the fans out there can all use their eyeballs. I'm not saying we're going to go and jump on, like, let's get rid of Romano and get him out of the closing. He's going to be closed. If there's a closed situation tonight, he's closing. Like,
as he should, you know. But I mean, again, like, I think Jimmy Garcia, like, this is another great piece in the bullpen in the later innings. Obviously, I would have loved to see him in that Wednesday game. It just, you know, he was a little worked up. Like, didn't have any pitches left. But I suppose down the line there could be a reality where he takes over the closing role if Jordan Romano struggles. And if Jimmy Garcia is really good at baseball. But even still, I mean, Jordan Romano, in his first outing in the next game, I mean, he did give up one run, but the dude did also get the save. And, you know, that is his job. So, I mean, I still liked what I saw from Romano, even though it got a tiny bit dicey there right at the end.
Yeah, it was he gave up only one hit, you know what I mean? You know, and I'm not too worried about Jordan Romano and his outing. I think he's going to be just fine. Jimmy did come out in this one. That is his second day of work and why he didn't show up to the last one. But just speaking of this game in a whole, I mean, this was a great game. It was a nail biter. We were live for it. A lot of good things you got to love from here. Ernie coming off the not off the bench, but like starting this game, looking good. Vladdy, I thought, was turning a corner. I don't think he did too much in the game after, but he was really turning a corner. Got the 2 walks, 2 RBIs. I like to see that. Again, I'm hoping that there is a slow change. Baseball's not going to be a light switch and all of a sudden you're, you know, good again. There's got to be a process in going through this. So I'm hoping to see something better from him. But game 3, I think, is what we all are here for. We love the first 2. We won it. Great. On Wednesday, we're going for the series sweep, and it was looking good. It was 4-2 in the 9th. We put in Eric Swanson in the 9th, which, you know, I think we can all agree if Eric Swanson was completely healthy and fine, we're okay with that. But also, where's Jordan Romano? Like, if Jordan Romano was healthy, which we found out after he's not, even though pre-game it was said that he was available, Jordan Romano, and now he's not. You know, also pre-game we didn't know where Chad Green was, and now he's not. We knew Jimmy wasn't, so that's 3 big guys gone. So you got to put in Eric Swanson here, and he wasn't looking like he was ready. He got blown up in AAA Buffalo, I realized, a day after this blow up. But this is unfortunate. You get him blown up. He didn't look that good. He gave up 3 earned runs, 3 hits. Then you bring in Tim Meza, who just couldn't get the job done either. 2 hits, 1 earned run, a walk. What are your thoughts, again, just kind of revisiting this after we had that live play-by-play and reaction?
I think it was really stupid, man. I don't understand how, and I literally said this. The moment that it was happening, I said this. Eric Swanson has not pitched in the MLB yet this year.
Right.
And now you are bringing him into a closing situation in a tight ball game where you're looking for the sweep. I like this guy. I trusted this guy last year. But, like, that is a high leverage moment for a dude who, you know, you could argue is still trying to get his reps in and get up to speed. We've been giving so much, leeway to Kevin Gausman, being like, well, he's only in his 8th start, or he's only in his 5th or 6th start right now, and this is really still spring training for him. Well, I think similar arguments can be made for Eric Swanson, who was injured and then had to work his way back through spring training and everything like that. So it just did not make any sense to me for the first time that this guy is going to come in an MLB game this year to be put into a situation that, one, he never plays in. He's not a close. He just doesn't do that, right? That's not his job. And then also to be in that high leverage moment off the get go. Like, it feels like we should have been able to have somebody else in there and ready to do that. And that brings me back to Jordan Romano thinking, okay, well, this is your guy that's supposed to be healthy. Isn't he capable of going back-to-back games? Like, why is he up here if that's not the case?
Yeah, there's a couple of notes. Yeah, I want to jump up. That's one of them. Yeah, why would you bring up Jordan Romano if he couldn't go back-to-back days? Isn't that the point of rehabbing so that you're ready to go 100%?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, like, yeah, first of all, why did we decide to do that? That's a big error right there. So, okay, you made an error. He's not ready to go. For whatever reason, Chad Green, it came out after Hazel May, Ben Nicholson, all the Sportsnet people came out and were like, okay, no, guys, like, he's actually not available because obviously the internet was blowing up. We were blowing up about it. So Chad Green's not available. Jimmy's not available. Jordan's not available. Who do we go to other than Eric Swanson in that spot?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, like now you're in a situation where, yeah, like this is kind of your only option.
Yeah.
But again, it brings me back to the fact, like, I just don't understand how you don't play Romano in that moment. And I guess, you know, they just made us stupid by bringing him up this early if he can't go back to back.
Right. And we're going back to that Nate Pearson thing. If he really wasn't ready to go, and I was all for, like, let Romano be ready. I would rather Romano be ready and play competitive games because now what you're doing is you're losing an inning of potential work from Nate Pearson, right? And it's, again, I'm not saying I don't want Romano on this team. I don't want my words getting twisted, but I want him healthy and ready to go in back-to-back games because we could have used him absolutely in that role, and we didn't. I mean, I was even curious, like, why wouldn't we see Eric Swanson, in the 8th? You know, Hez Cabrera did a good job. He only gave up 1 earned run in 2 innings. He had to go 2 innings because we were because of this, right? So for me, I just don't know why we didn't wait a little bit and then call up Jordan Romano later and have Nate Pearson in that kind of job.
Listen too. You know, flashback to the last game. Flashback to game 2. Where instead of having Eric Swanson come in for the setup role, you had Jimmy Garcia.
Yeah.
Why? You know what I mean?
Why?
It's like if they're both healthy and they're both ready to go, isn't that supposed to be Eric Swanson's job?
Yeah.
And if you had have done that, then you would have had Jimmy Garcia to come into this other closing situation that we had the following day, and probably you don't have that bullpen blow up. Right. So, like, why did you do it that way? I just don't understand.
Yeah, I'll play a devil's advocate. I'm also trying to understand from his perspective. Like, maybe you don't want to put 2 guys that are both coming off the injury back to back in case there is a blow up. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I don't think that makes any sense.
But then why bring them up at all?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like if you're worried about that, then you don't do that, you know?
Yeah.
Because then the following day you took this guy, from your point, you took this guy who's injured and you put him into a closing situation, you know? It doesn't make any sense. There wasn't a whole lot of foresight right there. I mean, obviously a lot of Blue Jays fans were upset about that. There are a lot of positives to be taken away from that series.
For sure.
I think, like, the fouling off all the pitches and having the long extended ABs, that's absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, I mean, John Schneider did a little bit of a masterclass there at the end, and sadly we couldn't bring out the brooms. Now, something that I do want to bring up, and I don't want to dwell too long on this, but I think it's, you know, a little bit concerning. What's going on with Bo Bichette in the field? Like, what's happening out there in the field? There was one game, I think he was only credited with 1 error, but frankly, it probably should have been 2. Like, it's been a little rough for Bo recently out there defensively speaking. And again, I don't want to go crazy right now because it is still early on in the year, but it does feel like he's just not playing the best out there. And it's too bad because last year it really was like, it felt like he was turning over a new leaf, you know?
Yeah. I was just trying to look up real quick if he's on the error leaderboard. It looks like he might be 3rd. They don't have actually that many. Fox is a horrible website. But yeah, I mean, it does cause for concern. And when we were live, a lot of people were kind of being like, you know, it's a classic conversation. Whenever Bo Bichette does bad defensively, all of the defensive or Bo Bichette defense haters like will pop up, you know, out of nowhere and be like, he shouldn't be shortstop, he should be second base. And like, I hear what you're saying. I think Bo Bichette profiles better at second base. He doesn't have the arm. Like, let's be honest. His arm strength is bottom tier. It's really not that good, right? His glove has been shaky. So if he doesn't have the arm, what really faults him is if it was when his glove isn't that good. And that, yes, I get it. Profile's better as a second baseman, but you've made the commitment to Bo Bichette, and what you'd rather have is Bo Bichette's mind being right to go get base hits, to go get doubles and be clutch. He's not doing it right now, so the last thing you need to do is to move him over, make some sort of defensive change. You have to keep him there at shortstop because that's what you've committed to him. And like to change him defensively, that's just too much work for him trying to figure out his bat right now.
Okay, well, but then let me put it back on you and say,
Mhm.
like, let's say that there is some problems that continue. Wouldn't you agree that that is going to be a strain on somebody mentally? Like thinking to
Mm.
yourself, oh shit, like I messed up a throw yesterday. I got an error the game before that. Now I got to go out here. I got to be perfect today. Like, wouldn't it maybe like would it take off some stress if, for instance, like maybe he played as the DH for a day or two or something like that, and you put IKF in there, or maybe you did start to have that conversation about him moving over to an easier defensive position. Like, could that potentially help him?
So on the DH thing, I mean, you couldn't do it too often because then that means no Justin Turner, and you're sacrificing even more defense, right? Putting him over at third base. So you couldn't do that. And then, well, on top of that, you're saying like, adding on to the errors, like, and that's hurting him mentally. Well, then now changing a position and now thinking I got to be better at this, that's getting even more. So I think it'd be counterintuitive this in the middle of the season. I think he would the only way he would ever change over is he'd have a long layoff. Like if he gets hurt and then he rehabs and practices that second.
Mhm.
But I highly doubt they do that mid-season. I highly doubt Bo Bichette will ever play second base for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Well, I do hear where you're coming from, man. I think like the only reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm seeing out there in the field IKF make play after play after play. And maybe it's just because I've been a fan of the Toronto Blue Jays so long that I just forget what it is to have like, an elite defender in the middle of the field right there. Obviously, we had Matt Chapman over at third base. It was phenomenal. But like pretty much, for the last 5 years, all of my fandom, we've been watching Bo Bichette. But IKF is out there doing fucking everything, man.
Oh yeah.
And again, like I'm not saying that I want to move Bo over right now, and I think it's still very early. But wouldn't it be nice if there was just a lockdown shortstop
It
there?
would be nice. It would be nice. But that's the unfortunate situation we're in, right? Like we can't have everything. If Bo Bichette was a lockdown shortstop and he had the bat, because that's the situation we're in.
Right.
Like, this guy's a superstar. You know what I mean? But he's not right now.
And he also doesn't have the bat right now. We do think it's going to change, but right now it has been going a little rough.
It's looked rough.
Let's take a look at some of the offensive production from the Toronto Blue Jays. Look at the guys who've been doing it over the past 7 days. Specifically, George Springer, pretty good, batting .333 the last week. That was solid. Bobo batted .278, but not a whole lot of pop in there. .666 OPS.
Double. Yeah.
Guerrero kind of just, he's floating around. He's, getting hits. He's taking walks, but, no walks. And then Ernie Clement's down there, man. 10 at-bats, but he's doing not bad for the Jays.
Yeah, no, guys are doing well. I mean, this Kiermaier thing, we were getting on Kiermaier last week. A lot, as you guys know, he's 4 for 10 in the last 7 days. Again, I don't want to take anything away from him, but like 3 of those hits were like, off a glove, off Rizzo's belly, it was just kind of fluky, like, hits. But again, they still count, but I still would like to see Kiermaier driving the ball on a line over the infielders' heads. Like, we haven't seen that in these 4 hits.
No, we haven't at all, dude. We haven't seen Kiermaier do a whole lot there. Alejandro Kirk, my guy, looking really good. Small sample size, but he was taking a ton of walks. Look at his on-base percentage right there. He's getting on base, 70% of the time in the last 7 days. That's incredible. And then, obviously, we got to shout out Dalton Varsho down there, dude. This guy was incredible at baseball last week. He's got 4 home runs right now in the Toronto Blue Jays. That is leading the team. That is doing really, really good. The pop is starting to come for Dalton Varsho. We need that slug, man. That's what you're supposed to bring to the team. And if that slash line right there, like if the average went up a little bit, if the average could be like 230, 240, but everything else stayed relatively the same, I will take that from Dalton Varsho with the defense that he provides.
Absolutely. All you got to do for Dalton Varsho to be a valuable player, I mean, he's already a valuable player with the defense. I don't want to take that away from him. But to be an even greater valuable player, man, you just got to be an OPS plus of 100. Be an average player. Be a little bit above average kind of player. And like his profile, he's not going to hit for 300. He's going to hit 230, but he's got to provide you with the pop. And he's on his way to winning J of the Week. Like, my God, this guy's like just carrying right now.
Yeah, of course.
And the approach that we were talking about early in spring training is coming through now. It took a little bit of time, and I'm hoping that a lot of these other guys for the Toronto Blue Jays, their approaches start to come through. George Springer, I'm still waiting on him for the verdict to be out, but I'm really hoping that he get that power back and he can attack those pitches, because right now he doesn't have a lot of power at all. Bo Bichette, he's going to come around. He's been Mr. Consistent over the last few years. He's got to hit his pitch. Look, he hits pitches all over the plate, and he doesn't really attack one zone. He hits pitches and they fall for hits. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., I'm really hoping, and I hope I saw it on Tuesday, where he's trying to drive the ball the other way with power. That's his stuff. That's where he lives. And I'm hoping we could see a little bit of that. If those guys could just do that and help the top of the order, guys like Dalton Varsho driving in runs will make this team go from averaging 3.8 runs per game to 5 and actually being competitive with how good our pitching has been so far this year.
Well, I'll tell you why I liked this series against the Yankees so much, even though, it ended on a sour note. Justin Turner sucked.
Yes,
and listen, you're like, oh, Nick, what the fuck are you saying? Like, that should be a bad thing, right? And it is. But we still won, and we still put up enough runs to win. And every other series, prior to that series against the Yankees, every other series, if Justin Turner wasn't doing what he was doing, loss, that's a series loss. You don't win that one. You don't win that, right? But this was the first time that we actually saw other guys in the lineup make some significant contributions. That is going to be something that needs to continue. I think we can all agree that Justin Turner is not going to finish with a 1 OPS at the end of the year. He's eventually going to cool off. He will get hot and cold at times, as all players do, but there needs to be some depth in the lineup. Dalton Varsho was showing that this week. Hell, even Kevin Kiermaier was putting in work, and Alejandro Captain Kirk as well was doing what needed to be done.
And I like it. And look, we're leaving now away from the Rogers Center, and you can
away from our cheating,
So that is, something that we got to do monitor, right? Like, we have to monitor, can we continue the offensive, positivity that we had at the Rogers Center? And I think the pitching should be fine, but we also got to make sure that we can do it again, that we can do it again. I did want to bring up one thing, because we had New Brunswick, Canada saying this. I did see this today. And we got to give another quick shout out to Elvis Martinez. Absolutely popping the hell off. He hit another home run the other day, and fans are starting to talk right now. Fans are starting to talk, saying like, well, let's get this guy out. Blue Jays don't have pop. We just talked about that in previous shows. Where's the pop this year? Dalton Varsho's giving me some pop, but where the pop for the other guys? This guy's got a ton of pop.
Well, let me tell you, dude, I was actually looking at him, and I was looking at our guy this morning, Addison freaking Barger. Both of those dudes, incredible at baseball so far. 16 games played for Addison Barger. 16 games played. 16 runs batted in.
That's nice.
He's got an OPS well over 900. He's going crazy. He's batting 304, or Elvis is batting 305. They're both carrying right now down there in the Buffalo Bisons. And I do think that right now, and again, it's very early on, but there's going to be some more conversations that are, increasingly happening, being like, we need to find space for these top prospects. There's only so much that they can do and develop and learn down there in AAA, right? If they are absolutely annihilating the baseball like they're doing right now, they deserve a shot. So, I mean, it's going to be tough to find out where they're going.
That's it.
Because that's the big problem right now. It's like, who do you send down for these guys? How do you make that happen?
I feel like an injury, and I don't wish any injury. I hope no one gets injured on this Toronto Blue Jay team, but if an injury happens, I think that's a great reason. Like, for example, if I would hate this, if Turner goes down, clear, you gotta call one of them up.
Sure,
you gotta. I mean, or IKF goes down, or anybody else, any of those infielders go down, you call up Elvis Martinez or Addison Barger. I think it's time. It's been way too long. We've been doing this channel for 5 years now.
Yeah,
and I've been looking at these guys for almost the entire time, being like, when the hell is it going to happen? I think they're peaking down there, and it's time to call them up.
I completely agree, dude. And we've seen it time and time again that, sometimes this new injection of life, like David Schneider when he came up last year, hell, even Ernie Clement kind of right now, right? This new injection of life and a new look for the Jays, that can spark something. That, it's like, hey, none of these pitchers have any book on you.
Yeah.
So you could pop off in the first month. You could pull a David Schneider, right? And I do think that Barger and Elvis Martinez both have the capabilities to do that.
Agreed. Guys, I want to give a quick little shout out here because, we've been asking you guys, send in your merchandise, send in photos and such. We got one of our first photos right here. It was a few weeks ago, but we got to give a shout out to Fatty McBeans. Yo, guys, Fatty McBeans on our live play-by-play. He likes to donate. He helps out the boys. He comments all the time, but he's got himself a Blue Jays Today hat. We got it right here on our set. Love it. Looks good. I hope you're enjoying it, Fatty McBeans.
Yeah.
It looks great, man. I mean,
you're the best, dude. I love that hat. I think it's filthy. If you guys want to cop one, then the link to do so is in the description. Also, I see a couple people asking me, like, what's going on with my arm right now.
I did notice that too.
Yeah, I mean, you can literally see it. Well, I've been playing a lot of golf, folks. I've been playing a lot of golf, and we tweaked a little something. It is actually rather painful. When I'm not doing the movement, it is fine. But when I'm doing the movement, it's rough. And we start slicing the shit out of it and chopping at it and whatever.
Yeah.
So I got to take it easy because the boys are going to be on the course. You did see the picture, obviously, of the boys being on the course from the Toronto Blue Jays, eh?
What, Justin Turner. I'm glad.
David Schneider.
Yes.
You know, they were on the links. That crew of Blue Jays players, like, I know that Justin Turner, he's hitting birdies left, right, and center, bro.
Oh, yeah.
I know that this guy's elite at golf.
If this guy treats his golf game the way he treats his baseball game, like his swing, I mean, this guy's going to be just
Who was
great.
the group again? Who was the group?
I'll bring it up right here. I got a little quote tweet of it.
Yeah.
It was the Hound, Babe, Earn Dog, JT. You got to love it, dude. Well, what a squad. What a mustache, David Schneider in the regular clothes. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, okay.
Popping.
Who do you think's the best golfer out of that group right there? Who do you think's the best golfer? I'll tell you right now. I think
it's JT.
I guarantee that David Schneider hits fucking nukes.
Off
of the tee.
I think he hits nukes.
I guarantee this guy's hitting 300 off the tee box.
I think JT's probably got a smooth swing, and he's very smart and analytical. Like, he knows which club to use. He knows when to lay up. He knows where to putt. You know, you can read the green well. And he's got the most wisdom and experience. I mean, he's oldest right now in the squad. I feel like it's got to be him. It's got to be him.
If, realistic, just looking at this, if I was to bet money, I'd probably go there too.
Yeah.
But I could see Hound on the mound, Chris Bassett being a little sneaky as well.
I was like, okay, but here's the thing. I'm like, I'm thinking he's lanky and he's got a nice swing, but also, like, he's a pitcher, so it's, like, kind of different. I feel like the hitter's got a little bit of an advantage.
You think so?
What I mean?
That's true. That could be true. That could be true.
But I never know. You never know.
Yeah. Either way, though, I mean, I think we can all agree if it was a driving contest, I am absolutely taking Babe Schneider. But the boys were on the links. They were getting ready for the upcoming series against San Diego, which we are going to break down very shortly. But first, a quick shout out to the sponsor of this video.
Time for a quick shout out to Betway. Betway is the best place to make all of your sports bets on all of your favorite teams. Betway is also in collaboration with iGaming Ontario. Must be 19 years older to participate. And guys, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content.
Shout out to Betway, everybody. They are phenomenal. Let us know. I mean, all you guys have already started saying it. He's like saying, I'd bet on Bassett. Let us know who do you think would be the best golfer in that crew.
Yeah.
I think we're both riding with JT.
Yeah, it's got
just with the wisdom right there from Justin Turner and the calm approach that he has.
That's what I'm saying. You need to be calm, right? You need to be calm at the dish.
Which I am not. Both of us like to get wild with it.
Dude, I get way too excited, man. My obliques are feeling it, like, right now. Because we were at the driving range yesterday, like you said.
Yeah.
And, like, my God, like, I want to swing today. And funny note, actually, to kind of, like, cap off this conversation, Nick was, like, taping up his arm before this stream. And he's like, I could go back to the range as he's literally putting his arm back together.
Yeah, dude. We gotta keep all the meat in one place right now, folks. It's feeling a little out of sorts. So let's take a look at this next San Diego series tonight. You got Yoriel Rodriguez taking the bump. Now, typically, folks, we would be live for this game, but because it's on the West Coast, because it is going to be starting at 9:40, we figured, you know what, doesn't make a whole lot of sense for us. That's why we did the back-to-back on Tuesday and Wednesday. We are going to be live for that Sunday game. It's happening at 4 in the afternoon, by the way, everybody. So we're going to be live for that one. We won't be live for this one, sadly. But Yoriel Rodriguez taking on Waldron. Rodriguez, small sample size, but pretty good in his first outing. Probably going to be followed up by Bowden Francis after 4 innings or so, assuming he makes it through 4 innings. And then you got Waldron there, who is off to a relatively good start.
Yeah, none of these pitchers have faced anybody in the opposing lineup. So I would give the advantage to the pitching in this one. It feels like, if you don't face a pitcher, you're trying to figure him out, especially with Rodriguez. Like this, everybody in the league is going to be trying to figure out, like, what is the book on this guy? What pitches am I attacking? What am I sitting on? Blah, 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 blah. Waldron, same idea. What are we going to get from this guy? This one might be low scoring, unless these guys can make mistakes. Because when I look at Rodriguez, you also got to keep in mind, it's Bowden Francis too, who doesn't really matter who he faces. Everyone's all over this guy. Everybody's pounding him. He has, even when he came in for Rodriguez, he gave up runs. So it's like, you got to consider them two as a package right now in that starting rotation. What are your thoughts? I mean, it's kind of an up in the air thing, bro.
Yeah, well, listen, we just got 3 people in a row saying that Waldron's knuckleball is wicked.
He's got the knuckleball.
Ooh.
He's got the knuckleball.
I don't like that for our Blue Jays, man. I don't like that for our Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, like,
it's unfamiliar.
Yeah,
we suck, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Look, we're not at home. We don't have our cheating advantage. A knuckleballer with some filthy movement there, that's a little worrisome for me, man. Honestly, okay, if I'm being completely transparent here, folks, I do want to win this series against San Diego. They're 11.
Wait, I thought you wanted to lose.
Oh yeah, fuck me. But obviously, like, I feel like they do have a good chance here. But considering Yariel Rodriguez and Bowden Francis, they are a package deal. I mean, I'm hoping that Yariel can continue his hot start here, but I don't necessarily know if I want to bet on that. Waldron with the knuckleball with the 3.14 ERA. This one feels like I think that we're going to lose here.
Yeah. Me too.
And I probably would bet on the San Diego Padres.
Yeah, I'd bet on them too. I mean, we're very similar in the records. We're only one game above 500 each. Mm-hmm. But, home field advantage. It's pretty tight. New pitchers. I'm with you.
Well,
let's give it
before we get to the next game, though, you actually want to give away our bets sponsored by Betway, folks. We have a little segment right here. We're going to be betting on this game, guys. If you're interested at all in hopping on Betway and running a bet with us, we got a couple good ones. Yeah. I know that you're taking the under on George Springer.
Yeah, I know that he's gotten a lot of singles. He's hot. But however, this is under 1.5 total bases, so he's got no extra base pop going on right now. Honestly, guys, before this stream, I was looking for like 20 minutes for a bet. I really couldn't find one that I felt I wanted to look for something with good odds. That was also felt like a lock. So something in the high 1.7, high 1.8. But really, there's nothing because I think this game's really tough to bet on. But if I were to drop a bet, I'm going to go with the knuckleballer against George Springer. He's going to have the advantage. George Springer under. I could lose this one easily, but this one felt the most right to me.
Well, I'm taking one that's a lot more risky, but I do feel like it's got a good chance of hitting here, folks. Jackson Merrill's got 4 steals so far on the season. That is still an issue for the Toronto Blue Jays. We haven't solved that problem, guys. People are going to continue to steal on us. Merrill is also hitting .333 right now, so he's getting on base at a very high clip, guys. 21 games played, 66 at-bats. The guy's been phenomenal so far, and he's only been caught stealing 1 time, and I promise you he will not be caught by the Toronto Blue Jays. This guy's going to steal a base on us this series. I can guarantee it. It might be tonight.
It could be. It could be. It works if you put all 3, if you spread out whatever you're going to bet on Jackson Merrill tonight, if you spread it out over all 3 games, and that way it feels like if you're going to get one, the odds will all work out.
In fact, I might do it. I might do that because I do believe that he's going to steal on us eventually. We just can't stop the run, guys. I think you got to keep betting that until it falls off. Let's look at game number 2, everybody. We're going to have Jose Barrios. La Máquina. On the mound. He's been so good at baseball, guys. This guy's got a 1.05
so
ERA. That's 1 run in 9 innings for that dude. I would love for this guy to just pitch all of our games for us right now. He's been incredible at baseball. Feels like when he's on the mound, fuck, it doesn't feel like it. It is. And we're 3-0 right now.
3-0.
Jose Barrios, 3-0. That's like a double-digit win pitcher there for me on the season for sure. Yeah. I don't even care who they roll out, dude. I think we win this one.
Yeah, this is supposed to be Yu Darvish's replacement. He hit the IL earlier this week, so this is clear to me. You're getting a guy, I don't know who they're going to bring on. Maybe he's never even faced live Major League pitching, or hitting, excuse me. Barrios smashed that. That's a lock. That's a lock.
Dude, until proven otherwise, La Máquina is a wagon, and we're just going to keep trusting it, dude. And again, people have been talking to us, asking us, well, who do you think is the ace? Like, who's the ace of the squad? I mean, not that it really matters, it's like we could have, honestly, I think a team could have multiple aces.
For sure.
But if there had to be one guy that you rolled out on the mound, that you have to pick one, the best guy right now, it is obviously Jose Barrios. There's just no debate right now. The dude has been effectively unhittable. And correct me if I'm wrong, maybe things have changed, but after his last start, he pitched the most innings in the major leagues and had the best ERA 2 innings pitched at that time. Maybe things have changed because other people pitch, but the guy's been incredible at baseball.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal. La Máquina's a wagon.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to game 3. So at this rate, we're both predicting 1-1.
1-1.
This would be the rubber match. You got Chris Bassett up against Joe Musgrove, who's been spotty. I know this because he's on my fantasy team. He'll be great or get shelled.
Yeah.
It's one or the other. Chris Bassett, however, he first 2 starts, got shelled. Next 2 starts, got really good. So what are we doing here?
Okay.
This feels like a battle of 2 great pitchers that are still trying to find their groove.
I'm just looking up right now exactly what it is that Joe Musgrove throws. What is the velocity? I thought the velocity was relatively good. I could be wrong.
892. No, it's not.
But he does throw a lot of stuff. He's got he's basically got a big arsenal, but not super high velo. So that actually makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Toronto Blue Jays, as we know in the past, like they have struggled against high velocity pitchers.
I think we win this one. I think Bassett's on the upswing. I mean, last 2 starts, he went into the 8th, went into the 7th. Like this guy's just on an absolute tear right now. And Joe Musgrove is shaky, spotty. Like even if he does put up a good outing, I think it's gonna be one of those classic Jays games at least where it's a low scoring affair. And I think Bassett's gonna be able to dominate. He was able to dominate the Yankees this past series, and they're a good offensive team right now.
Yeah.
I feel confident. Give me this. I think we win. I think we win on the road in San Diego. Bassett, hit the links with the boys.
Yeah.
Feeling relaxed, feeling good. He's ready to get the series win here on Sunday.
Yeah, man. I'm not seeing anything right now that instills me with a whole lot of confidence in Joe Musgrove. Like all of his metrics right now aren't looking good. So effectively, you're just bouncing that or betting on the fact that he will get better, which eventually he's going to do. It's not going to be this weekend, though, folks. Jays take 2 out of 3 against San Diego. They do lose the one tonight, but win the series overall. I would feel very, very good about that if we can get some wins on the road. Because who's after San Diego?
It's Kansas City.
Kansas City.
We're going 4 games, and they're hot. That's actually a tough series. They are
actually relatively hot right now. Before we finish things off, guys, let's take a quick look over at the standings right now in the American League, everybody.
This is going to play.
Time for a quick shout out to
It's going to do it.
Does it every time.
Every time. All right, let's go look at those standings. There we go. We are 4th place right now in the AL East.
We're moving up.
The Boston Red Sox, they have fallen from grace. They've lost a lot of games, man. They've lost a ton.
Look, I mean, even the fact, like, if Boston's just around 500, like, that's kind of what we expected anyways, and that is still annoying, and they're just always going to be there. Boston's never going to be terrible, but I don't think that they're going to be incredible either, so they're in the mix. Tampa Bay, 11-9. I really want them to fall off.
We need
New York and Baltimore, they're obviously a bit of a wagon, both of them. So they're going to be a problem all season long. And then when you look at that, when you look at the wild card, the American League as a whole, as you said, Kansas City is off to a hot start, 12-7. That sucks, man. I hate that we're running into them right now because they're not supposed to be that good at baseball.
No, they're not. But, I mean, you got Bobby Witt that's just looking phenomenal. They're getting some good pitching. They're starting to get a little bit hot, and we can't let it happen. Honestly, in terms of if we're looking way ahead at that series, I think that's an important series to get them out of here. We got to cool them off. We got to cool them down, beat them in their own home ballpark. But the good thing is, I know it's still early to be scoreboard watching, guys, but I love scoreboard watching, as you guys know. We're only half a game out. We're where we're supposed to be. Like we said, before the homestand, we said when we were 4-6, I said, dude, give me 10-9 at the end of this, and I'm back. We're back. We're in the mix. We're not out. This Jays team could win, but we got to do it on the road, man.
This is interesting. So the Tampa Bay Rays right now, they are starting a series at New York.
Oh, huge.
In the Yankees. So that's going to be a 3-game series against the Yankees. So I actually don't even know. That's the thing. I actually don't know. Now, I was going to ask you that because it's like part of me wants Tampa Bay to lose, so then it's like we can, usurp them and get into 3rd place. But that would obviously mean that the New York Yankees further their lead. So it's kind of, it's a weird one.
I think I know what I want. I do think I want the Tampa Bay Rays to win in the early part of the season because then if everyone could just be even-ish, because I think we're going to be even-ish, all it takes for us is one hot stretch, and boom, there we are actually competing at for the,
rather than New York getting like a really big lead.
And then it's like, okay, now we're getting buried.
Yeah, okay, well, New York's going to take Tampa Bay, so either way, if we can win this series against San Diego, we can certainly claw some games back against one of those 2 teams, which is a W in its own right.
Yeah, 12-10, that would be absolutely nice. Guys, that was the Blue Jays Today show for Friday. Like we said earlier in the stream, we're not going to be going live tonight, but we're going to be going live this Sunday. We'll have Video Room coming out tomorrow. So we appreciate you guys, man. It's been a ride. I'm hoping you guys are riding with us. #Bad for Baseball, because we're going to be here all season long with the ups, with the downs, with the sad, with the screaming, with the happiness. It's going to be fun, man. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, shout out to Yoriel Rodriguez tonight. Dice them up. We will be tuning tuning in. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. And as always, oh wait, you want to shout out?
Oh yeah, I want to get
shout out the YouTube members. Shout out the Patreon members. You guys are phenomenal. We got so many of you guys now. You're fucking amazing.
Look at them.
Yeah,
I had to make a third page. I had to make a third page.
3 pages. 3 pages. That's crazy.
My God.
You guys are the best. We appreciate you endlessly, and we will see you very soon, folks. Thank you so much for watching, and as always,
go Jays, go!
I'm gonna do my left arm right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's gotta be this guy. Gotta be this guy.